Just a week ago, the thought of a US annexation of a NATO ally's territory seemed fanciful bluster from a president known for his outlandish comments.
We need Greenland.
But after the abduction of the Venezuelan president in his own home and his claim America has taken control of the South American country, President Trump's threats hold more weight, and the polite smiles of NATO allies are starting to fade. This last week proving to not just be the beginning of a new year, but a new world order. These comments putting NATO allies on high alert of an attack from within.
Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security.
Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland.
The House leader, Republican Mike Johnson, not the first to be caught unaware of the president's latest explosive comments, spoke against the idea of military action in Greenland.
What do you make? The White House this afternoon said maybe we'll have to use military. We're not taking it off the table.
Who said that?
The White House.
Well, who at the White House? I mean,
I think it was a statement from the press office.
Well, I'm going to go by what the president says, and it didn't come up in his meeting with us today, and he and I haven't had a discussion about it. So I don't know. I think Greenland is viewed by a lot of people as something that would be a strategic positioning for the U.S. I don't know how it develops from there. So yes,
would you be comfortable with military action in Greenland?
Look, no, I don't think that's appropriate.
But other Republican senators backed the president's strategy.
When the president talks about Cuba, he talks about Colombia, and he talks about Greenland, is that just bluster, or do you take him at his word?
Well, I think the president has demonstrated, at least already, a very strong commitment to peace through strength, and especially in this hemisphere. And I think Venezuela delivered or got that message loudly and clearly.
Donald Trump has set his sights on the Nordic country since his first term. For 300 years, Greenland has been a Danish sovereign territory. That's longer than America has existed. Despite becoming self-governed in 2008, the Danes still control foreign policy and defence on the huge island, the 12th largest territory in the world by landmass. The US has had a military base on Greenland since the Cold War in the 1950s. It's strategically important because of its location between the US and its old foe Russia. Crucially, it's also home to some of the world's largest reserves of rare earth minerals outside of China, vital for the tech, EV and defence industries where the US wants global dominance. President Trump has already shown in Venezuela he's willing to tear up the rules-based order. But invading Greenland would destroy the fundamental pillar of Western geopolitical security that's been in place since the end of the Second World War. The Spanish Prime Minister, another NATO member, addressed the situation today.
The operation in Caracas sets a terrible precedent and a very dangerous one. We cannot accept this, nor can we accept that the territorial integrity of a European state such as Denmark can be threatened. We will not stay silent in the face of violations on the international law that unfortunately are increasingly frequent. Spain will not be an accomplice of such abuse.
The real estate kingpin come US president is used to exerting pressure to get the land he wants. He'll be gambling he could get away with a Greenland grab because no European nation has the strength to stop him by force. But whether he acts on that determination will be burning in the minds of European leaders. Decades-old Western geopolitical alliances melting as fast as the Arctic region they're arguing over. Joining me now is Duane Menezes, an historian and foreign policy specialist who founded the Polar Research and Policy Initiative. Is this the beginning of the end for NATO? Even if America doesn't pursue Greenland, the threat alone to attack another NATO member deals a hammer blow to the alliance, doesn't it?
Absolutely, especially because, as a senior advisor of the White House said recently, the two options on the table at the moment is either for the US to buy Greenland from Denmark, which Denmark has repeatedly said it doesn't want to do, and the second option is to have a compact of free association, as the US already has in place with 3 sovereign Pacific island nations. If it is not a matter of annexation, and it is not a matter of territorial acquisition, then it very well could be a matter of elbowing Denmark out of the equation by bringing in this new arrangement of a compact that the US can only sign with the sovereign state. So it's going to be pushing Greenland towards independence if it wants the compact to go through. Now, that is absolutely no problem if the Greenlanders want independence. But it must be a decision for the Greenlanders to make. It must be a decision for Greenland and Denmark to sort out among themselves.
The reality, of course, is that America is the strongest member of NATO. Can the other NATO members afford to speak tough to America on this issue?
No, and Stephen Miller did say if America decides to go into Greenland, no one is really going to pick on America, sort of, in any real meaningful military way. And of course, that's true. But I think it's important for Trump to recognize, number one, he's absolutely right in pointing out the strategic importance of Greenland and how vital it is to American and international security. Number two, the US already has complete, almost unlimited access for whatever defense purpose they wish in Greenland. Any talk of annexation is not going to deliver to the US any further outcome. Even if Trump were to somehow manage to get Greenland, it's going to be at best a Pyrrhic victory, because any gain in Greenland is going to be offset by a massive loss for US influence across the Western Alliance.
How much more important has the Arctic region become to global superpowers in recent decades?
We have now entered what I call the Arctic century, and Greenland is, right in the center of it. The shortest air routes, the shortest shipping routes, all go via the north. The quickest routes to launch a missile attack on the North American homeland are via the Arctic. Trump is right in pointing out the strategic importance of the Arctic. What he needs to realize is we as allies need to work together in the face of the threats presented by adversarial actors like China and Russia. The West needs to work together and come up with some sort of what I call an economic NATO. If we can open up infrastructure financing opportunities for the Arctic, if we can provide deeper pools of capital on friendlier terms, there is so much Trump can do, so much that is very much in alignment with his thinking. That is why annexation, which in so many ways should seem so foreign to him as an option, I find it strange that he puts that first on the table.
Can you put what's happening at the moment into context? Are we witnessing the birth of a new era almost? Modern day imperialism, it's happening in Russia in recent years, even Israel to a sense, and now in America.
It is worrisome, because we're re-entering a world where might seems to be what defines the new right. But at the same time, you cannot be America first by upending a rules-based order first created by Britain and America. It is an Anglo-American order that has gone transatlantic and now global. And it would be a horror, it would be a very, very unfortunate tragedy if America should lead the way in now dismantling the very system it's so carefully built.
Do you think this emboldens China in a sense to take what they want by force?
Of course it does. I mean, what sort of message is it sending to China when it comes to Taiwan? What sort of message is it sending to Russia when it comes to its neighborhood? If we are going to use the politics of thuggery to achieve noble aims, how are we differentiating ourselves from Putin and from the likes of Putin and every other dictator around the world who's a strongman? Trump doesn't need to go down this route. And this is why I'm not criticizing him. I'm just calling on him to pay attention to what could be better courses of action before it is too late.
Duane Menezes, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.